Today is July 7th, and the topic for today is actually very interesting. It is about how to learn. Now, the thing is that through learning and we go through studying about a particular art and about our particular craft, but the way we do it sometimes changes. Sometimes we get too carried away, and today's lecture particularly is about that. I remember there is this scene from Dead Poets Societies. In the beginning, Robin Williams asked them to read a poetry, and those people are actually like reading how to judge a poetry. What is a meter, and if a poetry will be interesting, or will the poetry be not interesting based on that. And then he actually tells them to rip the page apart and throw it in the dustbin because that is not how you learn poetry. Poetry is to be absorbed, it is to be enjoyed, and the same thing applies to all other art forms. So when we are learning an art form, I want to ask you a question: why are we learning in the first place? And my answer, that comes from my heart, is that we are learning to live. We are learning art, we are doing art to live. But I do remember this instance from my own life where I was learning photography and I was too carried away by compositions. Now, if you're a photographer or even if you're a painter, I do believe you might be going through this instance that you look at your photo or you look at your paintings that you do now and you realize the old ones had a lot of vibe that maybe you do not have right now because you got carried away by rules and principles and this thing to obey and this line to draw here. That the initial vibe that we captured that actually made us live, made us enjoy our moment is actually gone. Now, the same thing happened with me. I was in classes, so I used to go every single morning at 4 o'clock to shoot. And this happened for a few months. And the thing was, I was too much stuck to certain rules and principles and finding the image that I actually forgot why I started photography in the first place. And it was just because it gave me a passport to life, right? A passport to know people. That's it. That is what photography is. But then you get carried away with this all composition rules and everything. The problem arises. And the problem arises when you actually are not enjoying your work at all. Alright? The text from today, which reads, alright, I'll read the first line. This is what you should teach me. How to be like Odysseus. How to love my country, wife and father, and how even after suffering shipwreck, I might keep sailing on course to those honorable ends. When people read the books of, I believe it's the Odyssey, right? When people read that, people do get lost in reading the fact and the ideas of whether somebody was blind, whether somebody was thinking that or this or that, and all the numbers. The person was this and this age when they said this, they were born on this age. But the actual core, the actual crux of that learning is something that we forget, ain't it? We actually do forget the message, the core message that should come from it. That is just, it might be one simple thing. And in my experience, in my understanding, every simple message in the world can be broken down into very simple things like say the truth or enjoy your life or value time. That's it. We forget that. We leave that. And I read recently on Instagram that isn't it amazing that everything that you're learning now from your own self is actually something that has been already told to you when you were little. How to choose your friends, how to do this, how to think about time, how to think about food, do not waste food. But now, after all these years, after all this learning and education, we are actually going again to those basic principles that our parents actually taught us. So those messages are very core. We have to learn that. When we do art, that feeling, that basic instinct, that is why we started doing art, not for the rule of composition that something should be on the rule of thirds or the cross contour line should be like this. That is not why we did that, why we started it. People often get lost in facts, and a lot of instructions, and then there is this thing where you just go free flowing and you enjoy yourself. So today, if anything, I want to leave you with this idea that whatever you are learning, alright, look at the principles, do memorize them if you need to, do study them if you need to, but please go back to that essence of why you started doing it, how you enjoyed it, and for a minute, let go of the rules and just try to do the thing your way. And if you're going through creative block, if you're going through a little depression in your art right now, I am pretty sure it will help you. Please let me know what you think in the comments and see you tomorrow.